Now, in a historic judgment, India's top court on Friday allowed women of all ages to enter a Hindu temple. The Sabarimala temple is located in the southern Indian state of Kerala. The court delivered a 4:1 majority verdict. The lone dissenting judgment came from Justice Indu Malhotra, the only lady judge on the bench. The judgment does away with centuries-old tradition of not allowing women of menstrual age from entering the temple because the temple authorities argued that the presiding deity, Lord Ayyappa, is a celibate. Now, in the judgment, Chief Justice Deepak Mishra said that devotion cannot be subjected to discrimination and that a patriarchal notion cannot be allowed to trump equality in devotion. Reacting to the judgment, the head priest of Sabarimala said, and I quote, "We are disappointed but accept the Supreme Court verdict on women's entry," unquote.
12 years after the case came to court, the Indian Apex Court has allowed menstruating women to enter the Sabarimala temple in the southern Indian state of Kerala. The Apex Court said that this ban was a form of untouchability and that men and women have equal rights guaranteed to them under the Constitution of India. However, Justice Indu Malhotra, the only woman judge in the 5-judge constitution bench, disagreed with other judges and said that essential practices of a religion need to be decided by the religion only. One must not interfere with religious faith. Jessica Taneja with video journalist Ajit for Wion, New Delhi.
Now, some lauded the Supreme Court of India's verdict as progressive, one that upholds women's rights. Listen in.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला जो है वो बहुत अच्छा आया है और हम देख रहे हैं कि शबरीमाला मंदिर हो, शनि शिंगणापुर मंदिर हो या कहीं भी हो, महिलाओं को दुय्यम स्थान देता है और इसके लिए जो है वो ये मानसिकता जो है वो जिम्मेदार है और ये सोच बदलनी चाहिए, इसका परिवर्तन होना चाहिए और ये सोच बदलने के लिए आज का वर्डिक्ट हमारे लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
Logical conditions on grounds of menstruation, I think, was absolutely wrong, and it was a gross violation of Article 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution, which enshrined equality before law, prohibited discrimination and said everyone has a right to live with dignity.
Women can take their own decision. If they don't want to go, they should not go. But if women who are saying that they want to enter the temple, it is their victory, and I think everybody should have a right to equality. Even the women have got that right. And when the Constitution has given us the right, why we separate it from the religion or on the name of religion? I'm happy about the decision and I welcome it.
Every woman goes through menstruation. It's a natural process of the body, like digestion, like respiration, like circulation. So therefore, there's nothing taboo about it. In fact, because we keep it taboo, there's so many problems that women go through because they refuse to talk about it and they're embarrassed about it. It makes no sense to me. So I really do think that, yes, this does also break down religious superstition. Laws like, you know, when the Sabarimala temple verdict does allow for that. But also in the larger scheme of things, it brings forward the issue that, hey, listen, menstruation is not something bad. Start talking about it.
But not everyone is happy with the verdict. The Ayyappa Dharma Sena, or Lord Ayyappa's religious army, which backed the ban on the entry of women between the ages of 10 and 50 inside the temple, say that it will file a review petition.
Yes, like Indu Malhotra noted, it belongs to the diversity, it belongs to the cultural heritage of India. So we will go ahead with the review petition, since the very important thing is that it came from a female judge herself. So we still believe there's a chance for review and we should go ahead with the review petition. That's it.
Right, so let's take a closer look at the top court's verdict in detail and the arguments raised by the 4 concurring judges. Now, the Supreme Court said, women are equally entitled for religious practice. Devotion cannot be subjected to gender discrimination. Women are not lesser or inferior to men. Biological reasons cannot be accepted in freedom for faith. The practice in Sabarimala temple violates rights of Hindu women. To treat women as children of a lesser god is to blink at the Constitution itself. The physiological feature of menstruating has nothing to do with the right to pray. Dignity of individual is an unwavering nature of fundamental rights, and fundamental rights are essential for transformation of society. And finally, that the devotees of Ayyappa do not constitute a separate religious denomination. Right, so as I said before, it was a 4:1 majority verdict, but to everyone's surprise, the lone dissenting judge is a woman. Justice Indu Malhotra is the only one on the 5-judge bench who was against the lifting of the ban on women's entry into Sabarimala temple. Justice Malhotra said that religious practices could not be solely tested on the basis of Article 14 of the Constitution, and that it was not for the courts to decide on matters of religion. Now, in her judgment, Justice Malhotra said, and I quote, "What constitutes essential religious practice is for the religious community to decide, not for the court," unquote. She said that notions of rationality cannot be brought into matters of religion, and that balance needs to be struck between religious beliefs on one hand and cherished principles of non-discrimination and equality laid down by Constitution on the other. Justice Indu Malhotra argued that religious practices were protected under the Constitution and the Sabarimala Temple Board should be allowed to practice its customs. She went on to say that personal views of judges were irrelevant. If a person has faith on a certain deity, then the court must respect it. Now, India's top court has finally scrapped a centuries-old tradition. It is a major victory for women's activists, but the battle was long. For the last 3 decades, the activists have been struggling to ensure women's entry to the temple. The Kerala High Court formally introduced the ban in its 1991 judgment. A 2-judge bench held that banning menstruating women from the temple did not violate the Constitution. Until 2006, the judgment went unchallenged and the temple board practiced its tradition. Then, India Young Lawyers Association filed a public interest litigation petition with the Supreme Court of India. The petitions claim that the 1991 judgment violates constitutional guarantees of equality, non-discrimination and religious freedom. In November 2016, the Supreme Court of India sought the opinion of the Kerala government on the matter. The ruling leftist coalition in the state favoured the entry of women of all ages into the temple. In July 2018, Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra, while hearing the petition, questioned the temple's authority to deny entry to a particular section of women. The temple board argued that the tradition was born from the belief that the deity is a celibate. That's why pilgrims observe celibacy for 41 days before going to Sabarimala. The board said that as menstruating women cannot observe this, they should be disallowed from entering the temple. Today, the Supreme Court of India allowed women of all ages to enter the Ayyappa temple and ended the gender discrimination. In October last year, the top court referred the issue to a constitution bench after framing 5 significant questions. The 5-judge bench, which pronounced its verdict today, started hearing the case in July this year. It had reserved its verdict on the 8th of August after hearing the matter for 8 straight days.